Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back. Some Fate. Welcome back to Fate Stay Night. Will Shiro be able to keep up with the Archer's projection? I suppose at this point we know Archer is Emiya, just his future self. The perfect version of him, his ideal self. Pretty fucking hard to surpass your ideal, but I suppose if your ideal is at less than 1/10 of their potential strength, it's possible. So, after our wonderful and interesting dialogues, where we learned so much about Archer, and maybe a little bit about Shiro in the process, we're finally, I think, we finally got into the fight. I'm fucking ready for it. You're not hearing the absence of audio. There's no audio right here. No backing sound. Will Shiro be able to keep up with Shiro's projection? Let's find it.
わずかでも精度を落とせば、それがお前の死に際になろう。
The opposing swords sweep through the air. They are drawn together like magnets and clash into each other. Interlude 15-2. The search ends rather quickly. Lancer is thought to be specialized in battle, but he's actually skilled in magic. He just hates using that magic. And yet, there he is, summoned as a freaking wizard in Grand Order, and does nothing but whine about it. He's one of those people that seems to find a way to whine about everything. Oh, I got summoned as a caster, not a lancer. Oh, I got summoned by a terrible master. I mean, to be fair, he had a good reason to go complain about his master, but not about being summoned as a caster. Anyway, Gaebolg is not the only thing he obtained in the Country of Shadows. I would prefer Land of Shadows. Country of Shadows seems like a weird translation, but hey, it works. He is the hero who obtained all 18 of the Runes of Origin. But since he prefers to battle using his lance, the magic rarely gets used. And now is one of those rare times. The thing that flies above the floor suddenly drops. The Berkana rune finishes its search and turns back into a stone. An unfamiliar boy stands up in confusion. Lancer realizes he knows the voice and recalls who he is. He stops halfway. He sees Tosuka Rin behind the boy. She's tied to a chair. That's fine. That's to be expected since she's captured. But there's a bit more to the girl. First of all, the chair is on the ground. She's tied to the chair, so Tosuka Rin is also on the ground. Her long black hair is covered in sand, and something red can be seen on her mouth. She must have cut her lip. There's also a slight bruise by her mouth. The fist smashes into Matou Shinji's cheek. He probably deserved that, let's be honest. The light back fist blows the boy to the wall. One of the few times I would actually agree with Lancer's choice. At least most people's choice to just let their fists do the talking. He didn't kill the boy since it was unconscious. But it would not have been unconscious if Tosuka Rin looked paler and her clothes were more disordered. He would have consciously tried to blow the boy's head off if that were the case. Actually, Lancer does not care how a captive is treated, but he will not tolerate having his spoils snatched by someone else. Spoils for him are enemies he has to kill and women he favors. Tosuka Rin groans, still tied up to the chair. She must have been unconscious, as her voice is not too much different from when she wakes up.
いや、朝だぜ。起きろ、ぐうたら。
Lancer gives an out-of-place greeting and walks to Tosuke.
なんでここアインツベルンの城よ。
承知している。ああ、いいから動くな。今その手枷を切ってやる。その後は好きにしろ。広間に行ってバカどもの喧嘩を止めるなり、裏口から帰るのも自由だ。
The fighting idiots. Alright. The red lance appears.
それは助かるけど。ランサ、後ろ。
Lancer turns around at Rin's warning.
な、に
The one appearing there is unexpected, even for him. Corner of the room. The one walking past Mato Shinji is...
そこまでだランサー。協力しろとは言ったが、深入りしろとは言わなかったぞ。
Otomine Kirei. The one assumed to have been killed by Caster. I mean, even Rin knew. No body, no death. He's not dead. So it's not a surprise to us, it's not a surprise to her, but you know, seeing him in perfect condition might be surprising. But I guess he's a mage, so he could probably heal himself, you know. He's a tough motherfucker. He's pretty hard to kill, man.
キレ。
Rin lets out a surprised voice. Lancer glares suspiciously at the priest.
おい、いつから終始買いしやがったんだ、お前。俺のマスターは表には出てこないのが心情だったんじゃなかったか。
変えるような収支などない。
Dun.
そういうお前こそ命令違反だぞランサー。アーチャーの始末を命じたはずだが、潜んじたか。
So, now we know who Lancer's master is. Well, that resolves that. And Lancer was told to kill Archer. Oof. He definitely decided against that one.
あれは放っといても自滅する。その前にやり残した仕事を片付けに来たんだが、お前がここにいるということは、そこのガキはお前の差し金か？
人聞きが悪いな。彼とは協力関係だ。聖杯を手に入れるため、共に認め合った仲だが。
Don't say it like that. We're cooperative. We work together in order to obtain the Holy Grail. Yeah, sure. Alright. The priest says so without looking at the boy moaning in the rubble. Yeah, they're totally working together. So much he doesn't even care to check that he's alright.
そう。あんたがそう簡単にくたばるわけないと思ったけど、しぶとく生きてるばかりか。裏でこそこそ手を回してたのね。悪趣味ここに極まるっていうか。人畜無害な神事を懐柔してどうしようっていうのよ、キレ。
Whatever he wants to, evidently.
なるほど。あれを人畜無害と取るか。この状況においてもお前は遠坂凛らしい。もう少し出来の悪い弟子ならば惜しむこともないのだが。
The priest laughs. He looks and sounds as though he's giving a benediction to the dying. A chill runs up the girl's spine. At that moment, she realizes her fate. With a saintly smile, the priest gazes upon the sacrifice who had been his pupil for the past 10 years.
待てよ、琴峰。その女はどうするつもりだ？教え子を助けたいと言ったお前の言葉は嘘だったのか？
Lancer glares at his master while standing in front of the girl.
嘘なものか。彼女はここまで育てた大切な駒だ。10年にわたり欺き続けたのだから、そう簡単にリタイアされてはつまらん。
Yeah, I knew it. Rotten to the core as usual.
お前に彼女の警護を任せたのだ。わずか2日ばかりの延命だったが、親心としては十分すぎるのではないかな。
To be fair, they wouldn't have gotten here if they didn't have Lancer. As we saw, they do not succeed if they do not have Lancer. The priest walks past Lancer and looks down at the girl on the ground. Girl glares at her former instructor.
SS 神父。あんたならやりかねないと思ったけど、本当にマスターだったなんてね。 監督役のくせにゲームに参加するなんて反則もいいところじゃない。
Yep, that's fucking unfair. But, you know, why not cheat at a battle royale? That seems fun. I mean, it's not like they can make the battle royale not take place or actually do anything to invalidate it. Like, why not bring in 20 mages and single-handedly and just assassinate everyone who isn't on your team? I mean, it makes perfect sense if it's for a fucking wish. You could just wish for, like, infinite money or something and then be like, well, if we win, you know, everyone gets all the money they want.
その割には落ち着いてい
I
る
mean, maybe not infinite, but arbitrary large amount,
や
right?
はり気づいてはいたのか
It was kind of obvious. You're a pretty sketchy guy,
当
Kotomine.
然でしょ。自分のサーバントを見せなかったのもあんたを疑ってたからだもの。けどね、まさか初めっから騙されてるとは思わなかったわ。
初めから
Then, the priest frowns as if the words are unexpected. From the start?
何よ、文句あるっていうの？キレ。
いや初めからというがそれはどのあたりを指しているのかと思ってな
The priest grins. He looks down at the girl with utmost pleasure.
まった。キレ、あんた。
それは今回の聖杯戦争が始まってからかそれともお前が言う初めからとは前回の聖杯戦争を言っているのかね
Oh no. Oh no. With that, the girl understands everything. Her face turns pale, and she looks up at the man she studied under for 10 years in disbelief.
そう。殺したのはあんただったんだ。
当然だろう恩師であったからな騙し討ちはたやすかった
A grinding sound. Yeah, I'd be grinding my teeth too. The girl hangs her head, grits her teeth.
なあ、行き場に迷えクソ神父。断言してやるけど、あんたに居場所なんてないんだからね。地獄だってあんたみたいなのは願い下げで、煉獄だって他の連中がずぶとくなるってんでたらい回しよ。
Good to know that if she has nothing else, she has a scathing tongue.
あんたみたいな生き損ないはね、性に合わない天国あたりで針のむしろにくるまってろっての。
The girl keeps on cursing him. Of course, the priest does not care about such things. But the boy is overawed by her change. Matou Shinji never thought Tosuke Rin would show this much emotion.
琴峰、遠坂は僕がもらったんだって知ってるだろ。あいつに用があるのは僕だけだ。あんたはただ教会でこっちの守備を待ってればいいんだよ。
いや用ならばある彼女にはここで聖杯になってもらわねばならないからな
Matou Shinji does not understand what the priest is saying. The only ones who understand are the priest and the sacrifice, Tosuke Rin.
アーチャーとセーバーが消えればいい加減頃合いだいらぬ抵抗され鮮度を落とされても困ることは迅速に済ませてしまおう
Priest walks away from the girl with those words. The only one in front of Tosuke Rin is Lancer.
琴峰貴様
そのゴミを始末しろランサー器に心臓はいらん
Only Matou Shinji reacts to those words. Tosuke Rin glares at the priest, but bites her lip without speaking. The priest's smile already told her she was going to be killed here. She understands she will not be saved, and that she won't be heard even if she begs for her life. That's why she doesn't complain. That's the only way she can resist, and that is her will of opposition. She won't give up until the very last second. Help might arrive even at this moment, and she might be the only one that survives after this room miraculously crumbles.
ありえない話だけど。
She won't give up, but she also understands it's impossible. That's why she has no fear. Except for one thing. She imagines that boy's expression when he finds her dead after coming to save her. She doesn't want him to cry. It angers her that she's the cause of his tears, and she doesn't know how she can apologize to him. No. She can't apologize if she dies, but she still doesn't want him to cry.
ごめん、レミヤ君。私、先にリタイアする。
So she decides to apologize ahead of time. It does no good, but it calms her down.
どうしたランサー。相手は少女。貫くのはたやすかろう。
The priest shows no mercy. To that,
お断りだ。今回のは従えねえ。俺にやらせたかったら、その霊樹でも使うんだな。
Lancer replies while looking at the priest as if he's an enemy. I refuse. I can't obey that order. Use the command spell if you want me to do it.
何？
The priest narrows his eyes. The master and the slave. The air inside the room freezes as they stare at each other.
そうか。仕方あるまい。自分でできることに霊樹を消費するわけにはいかんのだが。
He raises his left arm. The priest activates the command spell on his arm.
では命じよう。自害しろランサー。
What a twist. What a twist. What a twist. That's not good. He wasn't expecting that, I don't think. Sorry, Lancer. He vomits up blood. But that's nothing compared to the blood spilling from his chest.
琴峰、貴様。
His voice is a whisper now. The spearman, Lancer's chest and heart are pierced by his own lance.
さらばだ。お前の役目はとうに終わっている。
The man in blue armor falls to the floor. Redness permeates the floor. There's no sign of him getting back up. The spearman in blue has been defeated by his own lance at the command of his own master. The priest moves. He walks over to the girl and crouches down. Her heart. He stoops so that he can easily pull out Tosca Rin's heart.
琴峰、約束が違うじゃないか。遠坂は僕にくれるって言っただろう。
Heh, Shinji doesn't seem too happy. The priest gives the boy a wordless glance.
ダメだ。遠坂はダメだ。そいつには借りがいっぱいあるんだから、生きていてくれなくちゃ困る。
Imagine being this pathetic. Like, where's your supporting servant? Oh yeah, he left. And still protesting. Matou Shinji protests, his teeth chattering at the sight of Lancer's corpse. But he stops. The boy slowly retreats, unable to take the priest's stare. The priest looks from the boy back to the girl.
最後に何か言い残すことはあるか。遺言ぐらいは聞こう。
His words are simple.
こういう時の私が何を考えているか、あんたなら知ってるはずでしょ。
Yeah, nothing good towards him. Tosaka Rin answers in her normal manner. You should know what I'm thinking in a situation like this.
そうだな。最後まで諦めないのがお前だ、リン。同時に覆らない現実を瞬時に認めるのもお前の素晴らしさだ。いいぞ。その矛盾はなかなかに芳醇だ。
He shows no hesitation. The priest grabs the girl's breast right on top of her heart. The girl closes her eyes at the sensation. A pierce. The heart is pierced and blood gushes out. Even after being abandoned, the room is still used as a disposal for corpses. The one to gasp is Tosaka Rin. Blood drips onto the floor. The dripping sound is made by something above her. From the chest of the priest who is looking down at the girl. Blood pours from his mouth. The wound on his chest is fatal. The weapon protruding from his back is the cursed lance that always strikes its target. The priest shows no emotion. With his lips covered in blood, he turns to Lancer.
ランサー貴様
あいにくだったなことみね。この程度でくたばれるんならよ、俺は英雄になんぞなってね。
Gotta go out with a bang, right? Anyone can tell that the ironic voice is bluffing. Lancer has no vitality. He has no heart, and his body is about to disappear. Demonic lance is pulled out. The priest, having nothing to show for his departure, falls and dies. No matter how great his mastery of magic or how powerful his divine protection, he's still a mere human. Good riddance to that. There's no way for him to be alive after being stabbed in his heart by the demonic lance.
たく、結局こうなったか、たわけ。
The knight leans against the wall and tries to hold up his disappearing body. But it's only temporary. Lancer will disappear once he falls to the ground. He lost his heart and his master. He's still able to maintain his body because of his dirty survival tricks.
いいじゃんいいじゃん。バカどもは勝手に殺し合ってたよ。
シンジ。
He's still here. Come on. The girl who is staring at the dead priest is brought back to reality by the laughing voice.
何が聖杯は君のものだ。だよ。役立たずは最後まで役立たずだったな、神父さん。
Matou Shinji kicks the priest's corpse. Didn't he literally give you a second servant? You could stay in this war? Come on, man. Christ, Shinji is so cringe. Even when he's kicking like the corpse of a villain, he still somehow comes out as scummy. The dead man does not move. That must have pleased him as the boy kicks the priest's head with all his might. A heavy smacking sound echoes in the room. The sensation and the sound excite Matou Shinji more than he expected.
けど文句は言わないでおくよ。さっきのことは根に持ってないし、死んじゃったやつにあれこれ言うのはみっともないしさ。
He laughs. The boy, whose sanity is almost gone, walks towards Tosuga Rin with staggering steps.
待たせたね、遠坂。いろいろ邪魔が入ったけど、これでようやく二人きりだ。残るサーバントもあと3人。ここで君が泣き疲れた頃には、全部型がついてるさ。
He literally goes on all fours to get on top of Tosuga Rin like a lizard. Oh my god. I thought that was like some weird choreography. They actually described that. Okay, okay. Alright. Described like a lizard.
お前にはいろいろ用があったんだ。ほんと困るよ、遠坂。簡単に死なれちゃあさ。ここまで我慢してきた僕に申し訳がないってもんだろ。
Is he also gonna be like super creepy and start licking her face or something?
さあ、こびてみろよ、遠坂。お前の態度次第で助けてやらないこともないぜ。それに、聖杯はもう僕のものだ。ここで僕のものになるって言うなら、お前にだって分けてやっても。
How do you share a wish?
呆れた。本当にバカじゃないのあんた。
Let's see if Tosuka asks that. Then, even while she's tied up and being licked on her cheek, oh my god! I called it. Even while she's tied up and being licked on her cheek by the boy, Tosuga Rin speaks up.
なんだって？
まだ懲りないのかって言ってるのよ、シンジ。あんたは綺麗にいいように使われてただけでしょ。いい？あのサーバントは扱いきれるものじゃない。 そんなこと近くにいるんだからあんただって分かってるでしょ。ならいい加減目を覚ましてこんな殺し合いから手を引けっていうの。今ならまだ間に合うのはそっちの方よ。死にたくなかったら1秒でも早くここから逃げ出しなさい。
何を言い出すかと思えば結局は命乞いじゃんか。バカはお前だよ遠坂。目障りな琴峰は死んだんだぜ。今さら何が僕の邪魔をするって言うんだ。
Matou Shinji runs his fingers along the girl's body. He doesn't stop being creepy, even for one paragraph. At that instant,
おい
Matou Shinji is punched away once again. He's flung to the wall.
ガキがそいつはてめえなんかが触れていい女じゃね
Lancer glances at the boy and walks lazily to the girl. Yeah, he doesn't even glare at him, he just glances at him.
何、死に損ないの分際で僕に意見しようっていうの。
Seems about right. The spearman stops. He now turns to Matou Shinji.
おとなしく寝ていれば苦しまずに死ねたってのにな。さっきといい今度といい、お前楽には殺さないからな。
Wait, what? He legitimately says that to us. Like the guy's on the verge of death anyway, so it's not like he cares because he's gonna die in 2 seconds. But he's threatening a servant. It's like you don't even have magic. At least Shiro has like can summon magic swords, and you know basically has a death wish, so he'd actually try to kill him. I don't think Shinji has the balls to try to take on fucking anybody. He wouldn't even take on a normal person. He would barely be willing to take on a normal person if he had a knife and they were unarmed. Let alone someone who actually knows how to fight, even if they're on the verge of death.
ほら出番だぜギルガメッシュ。こいつカッコつけて死にたいんだってさ。
He raises his voice. Oh, he's calling for Gilgamesh. Alright. Matou Shinji's servant, the one who can kill any heroic spirit, is summoned by his master and...
おい、なんだよ。何やってんだよあいつ。聞こえないのか。早く来いって言ってるだろ。
His voice sheepishly echoes through the room. The golden servant does not appear. The spearman, covered in blood, takes another step towards the annoying boy.
なんだよお前。死に損ないのくせに何かっこつけてんだよ。消えろよ。目障りだってわかんないのかよこの化け物。
The lance is thrust. The quick thrust pierces Matou Shinji through his right shoulder. His scream tears through the room. Lancer pulls out the lance with an almost bored expression and points it at Matou Shinji's temple.
うせろ死に損ないでもなお前程度なら1000人殺したところで支障はない
Imagine being that pathetic. Alright. Bye, Shinji. Get the hell out of here. Retreating to the wall and shivering, Matou Shinji runs away.
たく無駄な体力使わせやがって
I guess every step matters when you're 10 steps from death. Letting out a big sigh, he walks over to the girl. The lance cuts away the girl's bonds like paper.
ありがとう。助かったわ、ランサー。
She thanks him as soon as she's freed. Unmindful of the dirt that covers her, she bows to Lancer.
ま、成り行きだからな礼を言われる筋じゃね
At that instant, he falls.
ランサー
She tries to catch him, but doesn't make it. Lancer, who is leaning against a wall, crumples onto the ground. His legs won't move. Lancer's limbs are already dead. The fact that he still got up, killed his master, and freed her is unbelievable. Gushing blood stains his blue armor red.
待ってて、すぐに傷を塞ぐから。
Rin runs to the bloody spearman, but Lancer stops her by raising his hand.
無駄だ。俺のゲイボルクで破壊された心臓は簡単には治らん。大体な、そんな余分なマルカ残ってねえだろお前。
けどそれじゃ。
まあ気にするな。こういうのには慣れてる。英雄ってのはな、いつだって理不尽な命令で死ぬものなんだからよ。
Ah, he knows how it is. Always dying to someone else for someone else's cause or orders. His casual talk is like always. The blue spearman does not change his tone, even on the verge of his death. The girl stands there, speechless. Looking up at her, Lancer sighs as if the weight is lifted off of his shoulders.
いや、お互いつまんねえ相棒を引いちまったな。
そうね。けど、私のはつまんないっていうより、扱いづらいだけだったかな。
違いない。お前のような女が相棒だったら言うことはなかったんだが、あいにく昔からいい女とは縁がなくてな。まったく、こればっかりは何度繰り返しても治らねえみてえだ。
He laughs in self-derision. Yeah, never any luck with women on his side. That sucks. If you've read Hollow Ataraxia, you know he has even less luck. As, Kiyotomine was not the person who was supposed to summon him. It's rough being Lancer. Then,
さあ、早く行け。こいつは俺が連れて行く。お前は、お前の相棒のところに戻らないと。
the spearman in blue urges the girl, "Go back to your partner. I'll take him with me." Lancer is holding the Ansuz rune. The rune containing his remaining magical energy will burn this room to ashes. Understanding his determination, the girl turns her back to Lancer.
さよならランサー。短い間だったけど、私もあなたみたいな人は好きよ。
He runs to the entrance hall.
小娘が。もうちょっと年取って出直してこい。
He sounds happy. The broom erupts in flames. The blaze burns Lancer's body and his master's corpse, without leaving a trace. The red lance and the blue armor disappear in the flames like empty illusions. Interlude out. The same swords, the same techniques clash. My attack and his attack are the same, but still the blades chip away and my body is wounded the more we fight. The attack that I blocked breaks through. Kancho in my left hand is destroyed by his Kancho, and his weapon sweeps at me from the side. I twist my body to dodge it, but it still slashes me. Although not immediately fatal, the wound will eventually overcome me. I bear the pain by cursing and swing Bakuya at the close enemy. It's blocked and destroyed as well. We have the same swords and the same techniques, but there's a gap I cannot fill.
お前の感想と俺の感想が同等とでも思ったか。お前はまだまだ基本コストの想定が甘い。いかにイメージ通りの外見材質を保とうが、構造に利がなければ崩れるのは当然だ。イメージといえど、筋が通ってなければ瓦解する。
His images are just that cut above what our hero Shiro can make. My temple and my side. He attacks both my vital spots at once. I immediately project the twin swords and parry the attacks. My head hurts to the point of blurring my sight. It's not because of the strain of immediate projection. This is that headache. The instinct I felt when I was searching for Tosuka. The slight fever I got every time I faced him. That strain now threatens to drive me mad. I parry his attacks. I step in and slash at his body. The red headache burns my eyes every time I do so. Is it because of the contradiction that Emiya Shiro and heroic spirit Emiya are existing at the same time? Ever since we recognized each other's identities, my body breaks every time we touch each other. I traced his sword technique and even his reproduction ability. It's natural for them to suit me. Its abilities are Emiya Shiro's optimal technique, perfected over many years of training. There's no way it would not suit me. In trying to match his skill, I allowed myself to learn too much about my future self. My eyeballs go numb. Every time I swing the sword, every time the sparks fly out, I'm attacked with a flash so strong it could blind me. I am no match for him, and my vision fills with red every time we exchange blows. If that's the worst of it, I don't care. My body is already torn apart. My headache is nothing compared to the burning wound in my stomach. The problem is that the headache won't stop because there's something I'm still drawing out from him.
都合5本目だな。投影による複製ではそろそろ限界か。お前の魔力量はよくわかっている。そのざまでは残り3本。わざわざあれを見せてやったというのに、未だそんな勘違いをしているとはな。
His scornful voice contains some disappointment. He's got 3 more projections in him. Alright, let's see. Misunderstand? I don't care about that. More than anything, I have to do something about this headache right now. The thing flowing from you.
至ったところで不可能ではあるか。今のエミヤシローが生成できる魔力では足りない。そう。どちらにせよ。
My headache gets worse. He raises his twin swords to finish the match. He swings them down in a cross. The swords I blocked them with are destroyed. My body becomes numb as if a hammer had been smashed on it, and the headache finally sears my brain as well as my eyes. It's flowing into me. Oh. This is scarier. The pain. This is his memory. The reason he changed so much. I can see bits and pieces of what will happen to Emiya Shiro in the future. I don't know if it was correct or not. Nobody will be able to determine that. The beautiful things were ugly, and the ugly things were beautiful. There's nothing disgusting once you look at it objectively. So why is there such a deviation? Perspective. Perspective. Sophistry, falsehood, trickery, vanity. Those are what he saw the most.
I am the bone of my soul.
But still, it seems he didn't care. There was an ideal and an oath he had to protect. He did not care what he lost to do so. Even when he was betrayed, he believed there would be a next time if he did not betray himself. He did not show grief or pain.
Steel is my body, and fire is my blood.
He's like a cold-blooded machine to others. He was a convenient existence, so he was conveniently used. He was only a tool in other people's eyes, but the machine had an ideal it wanted to protect, so it accepted its rule as a convenient tool. Alright. So, sees itself as more of a tool than a person. Makes sense. Emiya Shiro basically sees himself as a device for saving people. So I can see how Archer was thinking along the same lines the whole time.
I have created over 1,000 blades.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that was a funny way to pronounce that line. The 1,000 blades part. Seems like that was a tough line for the actor to say.
Unknown to death, unknown to life.
It's not something to go around proclaiming. The more he kills and the more he is unable to save, the less he can talk about his ideal. The only thing left for him is to obstinately protect his ideal until the very end. And the result? The ideal Emiyashiro dreamt of has never been accomplished. And he found out that it's just nonsense, dreamed by a fool who is only a nuisance to others.
Hell withstood pain to create many weapons.
See? See? This is his end. See? This is your end. My mind gives in. I won't feel compassion. I won't feel compassion. I won't feel compassion. I won't feel compassion. But my mind almost gives in, thinking I will be following this exact path.
Yet those hands will never hold anything.
What you believed in. What you believe in. You're shown this is just a fantasy that's covered with lies, and still. His weapon closes in. A horn-like sword comes to pierce my heart. I get away. I have in my hands the twin swords I quickly projected. I forced down my nausea. What was I seeing? Forget it. Forget what you just saw. You need to defeat him. You should focus everything on that goal.
計算違いか。前世の自分を高齢、憑依させることで、かつての技術を習得する魔術があると聞くが、俺と打ち合うたびに、お前の技術は鍛えられていくようだな。
Okay. He's heard of magic to acquire skills. That makes sense. If you can acquire skills from your past by possessing yourself with your previous self, then yeah. Sure. If you can learn from your previous self, you can learn from your future self. Especially if you're getting like weird mind flashes where you can see his experiences and know how to act in certain situations or simply become stronger. I'm with that. I understand that. My shoulders heaving, I prepare myself for his attack.
となると、引き出したものは投影技術だけではあるまい。その顔、今にも吐きそうな最低の面構えからすると、お前も見たな。
We did see it. We did see it. My breathing stops. Don't let me say it. Don't let me recall it. If you say what I just saw,
ならば話は早い。それは全て事実だ。エミヤしろ。
His red cloak moves. He closes in on me in an instant and thrusts the horned sword. It's destroyed in one blow. There's no way a hastily constructed sword and a first attempt at that would match his sword. But even though I'm empty-handed, he throws away his sword. He projects Durandal, the renowned sword of the king. I skip about 4 steps and quickly reproduce his weapon. But of course, such an imitation is destroyed in one blow. I fall. I'm repelled and I land with my back on the rubble. That surprises me. The rubble turns red just by having me fall on top of it. Oh. I already know, but it seems my body is almost dead, outside and inside.
そこまでだ。叶わないと知ってなおここに現れる愚かさ。生涯くだらぬ理想にとらわれ、自らの意志を持たなかったまがい者。それが自身の正体だと理解したか。
Does he understand? I don't think Shiro understands his own failings or the... I don't think he wants to understand. He just wants to keep on and hold on to what he believes in. And I don't think Archer understands the state Shiro's in at the moment. It's like you're trying to convince your past self that something they believed in is wrong, and they don't want to believe you because they're like, at that point they're a fanatic. They don't care until they have to physically experience everything you went through, not just a couple scenes, not just your end, not just the worst one. They're like, well, clearly there must be better, even if, you know, they just keep believing because they're a fanatic. They're not willing to change their mind over simple things like seeing that it might go wrong, right? Shiro's like obsessed with his ideal. He's not gonna turn back just because he saw that it might not end up well. His voice echoes. My body is covered with wounds. It's bad how the wounds are so deep I can reach inside them and take out my bones.
そんなものに生きている価値はない。何よりこの俺が確信しているのだ。エミヤシロという男の人生に価値などない。ただ救いたいから救うなど、そもそも感情として間違えている。人間として故障したお前は、初めからあってはならない偽物だった。
That's a very personal insult. My magical energy is almost depleted. Not only that, the magic circuit to run the magical energy is burned up. No. I talk about it burning up. It burned up yesterday when I used projection. It's just that an almost broken thing completely broke. But my body is telling me I can still fight. My mind bluffs itself saying it's not given in. It's not given in. Then, I have to get up and defeat him.
無駄なことを。俺はお前の理想だ。叶うはずなどないと、今ので理解できたはずだが。
It's useless. I'm your ideal. You should realize you cannot match me. I focus the last of my will on the magic circuit. My split nerves scream, but I carefully put together the 8 steps. I project his twin swords, Kanjo and Bakuya, 2 great swords named after an ancient swordsmith. He's still going. He's still going. I swing them. I keep attacking until my remaining energy runs out. My twin swords are met by twin swords. Archer now holds Kancho and Bakuya and parries my attacks without retreating.
そうか。認めるわけにはいかないのは道理だな。俺がお前の理想である限り、エミヤシロウは誰よりも俺を否定しなければならない。
That's fair. He shouldn't accept you, and especially since you're not what he dreams of. He dreams of your strength, he dreams of your skills, he dreams of some of the decisions you made, but he doesn't dream of abandoning his ideals or giving up hope. I mean, Ashiro's still a fanatic and still believes in himself, right? His calm tone pisses me off. I can't even breathe, but he's calm and composed. I attack with all my energy. We just keep going, don't we? Like, oh, we've reached our limit. We just push that little bit further, hurting ourselves just that little bit more because we really want to win. We can't give up. Like, we've hated Archer since like the first time we met him. There's no way you give up here with your, like, when you're having like 2 ideals clash against each other. Like, if you give up, you're admitting. You know, if you admit defeat, you're giving up and admitting the other person's right? Like, this fight isn't about killing each other. It's about the ideal you support. You know, Archer's telling Shiro, hey, this doesn't work out. We need a different plan. You're completely wrong at this point in your life. And Shiro's like, no. I'm fucking right. This is the dream. Like, we've got here, and we like at this point, I think everyone should understand that Archer is not actively trying to kill Shiro, or at least he hasn't been the whole series. He's saved his life several times. He's prevented him from being killed by other people. He's worked with him when it would have been better to just let him die. Every time it's because he wants Shiro to know that he's beaten, that his ideal's wrong, and to change from his path. You know, I don't think he wants him dead. Like, if he wanted him dead, he probably would have just killed him, like, you know, the fight with Berserker. Oh, just snipe him when Rin's not paying attention because you're running off to provide fire support. Bam! Dead Shiro, mission solved. Mission accomplished. Or like, you know, in the temple, oh, a caster's got him hostage and is gonna kill him by ripping out his magic circuits. Oh, well, we could just let that happen, or we could save him. Anyway, back to Shiro. He attacked with all his energy. When was he not giving 100%? Oh, this time it's Archer saying, damn. I think he was thinking he would have given up or would have at least beaten him at this point. He does not parry my attacks, but pushes them back. I'm pushed back along with my twin swords. The difference in our powers is obvious. Remember, Archer is at less than 1/10 of his strength, and he's still like, he's still stomping Shiro. There's no way for me to win with pure strength.
では聞くがな、シロ。お前は本当に正義の味方になりたいと思っているのか?
Does he want to be a superhero? For an instant, my mind blanks out from the surprise attack. See? He's still asking questions. He's not trying to kill him. He knows how this story ends. He knows at least some of the suffering Archer is going through, and he's still like, no, I want to be this fucking hero. I can see the bad end in front of me, and I say, yes, this is what I want. You gotta be a freaking fanatic, or like that's what an ideal is, right? If you really believe in an ideal, you know, you got to ignore the fact that it's flawed, or nothing's perfect, right? Definitely not ideals. They'll never match reality. Shiro's not giving up, even after seeing a few of the flaws. How he ends, how other people view his ideal. He just continues to believe, in spite of all this. I glare back at him. Then...
絶対にならなければならない。なぜならそれはエミやシローにとってただ一つの感情だからだ。逆らうことも否定することもできない感情。たとえそれが自身の内から現れたものでないとしても。
He stops me with words that grab my heart. You still want to be a hero. It's the only emotion you can feel, even if it's not one that comes from you. Oof. Hitting right, yeah, where Kiritsugu gave him the idea. Give him the dream to become a hero. That might shake some sense to him. Not born from within me. I deny them even before I think about what those words mean. I can't let him finish. I can't realize that fact. If I find out, Emiya Shiro's foundation will crumble.
その様子ではうすうす感づいてはいたようだな。
I have an idea of it. You have an idea of it. Archer knows it. But Shiro, I don't think Shiro wants to acknowledge it yet.
いや、初めから気づいていて、それを必死に遠ざけていただけだったのか。
I start to say before I stop myself. I don't want to know. I know what I shouldn't know. But still, I know that I must know. The contradiction of Emiya Shiro. The answer to what's wrong with me and how I'm distorted.
俺にはもはやお前の記憶などない。だが、それでもあの光景だけは覚えている。一面の炎と充満した死の匂い。絶望の中で助けを乞い、叶えられた時の感情。エミやキリツグという男の
俺を助け出した時に見せた安堵の顔を。
It all leads back to that fire. That one day. Everything starts there. I realize that it's natural to die. My mind emptied out. I was saved at that time. The man who saved me smiled with tears in his eyes. That is what I thought was beautiful.
そうだ。お前はただ一人助けられたことで、助けられなかった人々に後ろめたさを感じていたわけじゃない。ただ、エミやキリツグに憧れただけだ。
Only admiration, no guilt at that time. That's interesting. I feel like he has a serious case of survivor's guilt these days, but at this point he's just admiring Kiritsugu.
あの男のお前を助けた顔があまりにも幸せそうだったから。
That's right. It's not me that got saved at that time. It's an assumption I did not even think about. If that fire was Kiritsugu's fault, he shouldn't have been able to bear that fact. A tragedy without any survivors. Kiritsugu, the one who caused it, must have frantically searched for a survivor. And he finally found a survivor that should not have existed. The man found a surviving child that could not be saved. If you talk about miracles, it is... I knew that already. I don't care about his circumstances. It was enough for me that he got me out of that hell. Even if it may have been for himself, it's true he tried to save me and wished for my survival. That's enough. Emiya Kiritsugu saved a boy who had nothing. So?
そう。子が親に憧れるのは当然だ。だが、お前はそれが行き過ぎた。エミやキリツグに、エミやキリツグがなりたかったものに憧れるだけならよかった。だが、最後に奴はお前に呪いを残した。言うまでもないだろう。それがお前の全てだと言ってもいい。
Yeah. Oh, the one curse. Everything. He gave him his dream of becoming a hero, a perfect hero. And Hero promised to become one. One of our key motivations throughout the whole plot so far.
じいさんの夢は俺が。
I'll make your dream come true. That's the answer. Hearing my casual remark, he left the words, "I'm relieved," behind him. And then that man, who was emptier even than me, died. At that moment, Emiya Shiro had to become a superhero. My will does not matter. For his sake, I simply tried to become what he had admired since he was small. The wish for everyone to be happy. It is an impossibility dreamed not by me, but by Emiya Kiritsugu.
気づいているのだろう。シロ、お前の理想はただの借り物だ。エミやキリツグという男がなりたかったもの、エミやキリツグが正しいと信じたものを真似ているだけに過ぎない。
Your ideal is borrowed. You're an imitation, Kiritsugu. What he wanted to become and what he thought was right. Now that strikes to the heart. That's a fucking hard blow to take if you're Shiro. Holy shit. That probably hits Shiro. You know, that hits Shiro harder than all the slashes, all the mind-numbing pain, all the headaches, the nearly dying. That hits way harder for Shiro because that's the only thing he physically cares about. I grit my teeth, desperately trying to resist my mind that's about to give in. But
正義の味方だと笑わせるな。誰かのためになるとそう繰り返し続けたお前の思いは決して自ら生み出されたものではない。そんな男が他人の助けになるなどと思い上がりも甚だしい。
he attacks with his swords. With the weight of his contempt behind them, the twin swords are swung more strongly than ever before. Seeing those raging swords, I accept my own death just as I did 10 years ago. The The force comes smashing down. There's no elegance in those attacks, and they are executed using only his strength. My left arm shakes from blocking the attack. My fingers that held onto the sword break. The sword I made using all my remaining power is bent back by one blow. I'm dead. I'm on the verge of death from the first blow, so there's no way I'll be able to block the next attack. But still, my mind is about to give in, but my body denies it with all its might. It's telling me I'm wrong. It appeals to me, saying it's wrong to give in to his words and to die here. I raise my head. My eyes aren't functioning. They don't see the enemy, but show his memories. In them, I see myself curling up and desperately trying to live. The echoing of the swords isn't all I hear. He curses himself every time he attacks.
そうだ。誰かを助けたいという願いが綺麗だったから憧れた。
It is beautiful. Desire to save others. Help others. I block the oncoming attack. Bakuya is destroyed. All I have left is Kancho in my left hand.
故に自身からこぼれ落ちた気持ちなどない。これを偽善と言わず何という。
Kancho is bent and its existence is fading. My heart is hurting. Not because of his attacks. His words slash at my heart. See? Shiro doesn't care about the broken fingers. He doesn't care about the cuts on his body. He doesn't care that he's about to freaking die from mana overuse or whatever, supposing that can happen. He only cares that the verbal lashing Archer's giving him is so fucking brutal. It's so personal. It's fucking scathing. Holy shit.
この身は誰かのためにならなければならないと脅迫観念に突き動かされてきた。それが苦痛だと思うことも破綻していると気づく間もなくただ走り続けた。
Keeps on denying himself. My heart tries to give up every time I hear him. My body wants to succumb to the force of his attacks. But still, that same body keeps desperately denying him.
だが、所詮は偽物だ。そんな偽善では何も救えない。いいな。元より何を救うべきかも定まらない。
The only thing you wanted to save was your ideal. Such hypocrisy can't save anything. Yeah. Killing someone to save more people doesn't work. Doesn't work with your ideal, man. It's not possible to save those people, and it's not possible not to do that. I'm smashed away. An attack as strong as one of Berserker's easily flings away Emiyashiro's body. But I still hold my ground. I frantically endure the attack coming down at me. I will not be able to get back up if I fall down. So my body refuses to let me fall. I thrust the rapidly fading Kancho into the ground and lean on it. My body sags forward and I cannot even stand upright. I use Kancho as a cane and hold up my falling body with my arms. Alright. I must look pitiful. I might look as if I'm kneeling down and begging him.
その理想は破綻している。自身より他人が大切だという考え、誰もが幸福であってほしい願いなど、空想のおとぎ話だ。
Yeah, can we really make everyone happy? Everybody happy. Not just the people we like. Everybody happy. Fuck's sake. A lot of people would kill to be able to do that. Can you imagine politicians making everybody happy? They just get endlessly re-elected. Get all their goals. They make themselves happy. They make other people happy. They accomplish what they wanted to, because I mean, the idea that everyone else is more important than yourself is also probably tough to swallow. Definitely don't see politicians thinking that.
そんな夢を抱いてしか生きられないのであれば、抱いたまま溺死しろ。
You can only live by holding on to that ideal. The idea that everyone else is more important than yourself, and they wish for everyone else to be happy. Yeah, you should drown in your ideals. He says that. He says that there's no value in living, no, in my life itself. My weapon is about to disappear, and there's little point in trying to keep my body from falling. In contrast, he isn't even scratched. The match is decided. No. The match had been decided from the start. There's no way for Emiya Shiro to beat Heroic Spirit Emiya. But that is a mistake. If the difference in our powers was large, the fight wouldn't have turned out like this. It is my mind that lost. My mind is weak because I realized that I'm wrong and that he's right. That was my only failure. Because why? Because my body has been telling me I will not lose to you. Why? Why did power enter my body every time he cursed my ideal as a fake?
ふざけんな、こんちくしょう!
I'll reach it. I'll definitely reach it. If parts of me are broken, then I just need to use the parts that aren't. If everything I have is broken, then use the parts I don't have. If my body hasn't lost yet, I can just reach out to the part of me that hasn't been used yet. A headache. An instant of a few milliseconds. I see him, probably for the last time. I could not understand him, but I guess I can use his pain as a lesson. A hero who used a poem about himself as his spell. Even if I don't understand the meaning behind it, I will accept those words in your place. I start the spell so that I can be proud of myself. Emiya's words hurt Emiya. He accepted that fact and chose to kill me. That's the only thing he could wish for in the end. Then, just as you deny me, I will defeat you with all my powers. Ah, in Japanese, I am the bone of my sword. I murmur the words without realizing it. I raise my head. I pour determination into my dying body. I swallow the blood clotting in my throat. Yang sword, Kansho regains its image. This is just a dream. But I kept on believing in it because I thought it was right. Kiritsugu pursued it because he knew it was an unattainable dream, an impossible ideal. Even if it may be unattainable, he believed that he would reach his destination if he kept running. I ready my sword. I don't care about that. For those of you who haven't read the Fate route, it will explain that line. Or if you've seen Zero, it will also explain that line. Or if you've read Zero, it will also explain that line. It's pretty straightforward. Why is Shiro getting back up? Why can his body still work? There's a reason for it, but we won't find out in this read. I will keep on being Emiya Shiro. Won't lose to you. It is an unbelievable technique. His attacking body is on the verge of death. His fingers are broken, his limbs are slashed, and his breathing has stopped without him even realizing it. His speed is nothing, and his attack is mediocre. The boy that has absorbed his combat skills to the point where he's able to fight decently has now returned to fighting without them. An unskilled, frantic attack. But still, this blow is heavier than any that came before. Archer's indifference turns to surprise within a second. The swinging swords are crazy. They clash against his longsword with unimaginable speed. Where is his power coming from? The attacks are unlike before. He cannot go into defense. This attack should cut through the boy's neck. Realizing he cannot make light of the boy, he swings his sword. Up and down, left and right. The 4 attacks are enough to cut off his limbs and to cut up his body into pieces. The boy blocks them. No. Exceeding his 4 attacks, the sword comes to slash his neck. Bringing back the longsword, he parries the attack. He intuitively understands he will be killed unless he attacks. The longsword attacks the enemy that's on the verge of death, and the boy frantically swings his sword. Their swords crash in balance. The space is filled with sparks, and anything entering the space should be cut to pieces. But it should be the last spark that a dying man gives off. The boy loses his breath every time he attacks, almost falls, holds his ground, and attacks again. The sight reassures him. There's no power left in his enemy. The boy in front of him is literally on the verge of death. So why do these arms have seemingly infinite power? I have no consciousness. I can neither tell what the enemy's doing, nor if my attacks are doing anything. My muscles are screaming for oxygen, and the lack of blood keeps ordering my body to stop. I suppress them altogether by force. That's all that's filling my head. My ideal is fake. He's right. I can't be a superhero. As long as I admire such a thing, I will end up like the man before me. But I felt beauty in it. I know it's just hypocrisy to value everyone else over yourself. But still, I admired it, thinking how great it would be if I could live that way. That's the only thing driving my dying body. Again, I believe madly attacking without technique or any real strategy is pretty bad in swordplay, especially against someone who's 10 times faster than you, 10 times stronger than you, or even on their worst day, and knows way more about swordplay. Like, there's no way you surpass him, but this fight isn't about actually being better in combat. This fight is about ideals and making Shiro give up, or making Archer give up. You know, they're just clashing over the ideals through the imagery of the fight. He cannot hear what his enemy is saying. His enemy's voice is weak, yet his attacks are relentless. Looking, the boy's hands are one with the sword hilt. It must be to keep the sword in place, but that will transfer the impact directly to the body. Hands are one with the sword's hilt. To transfer impact directly to the body. The boy is covered in blood, and he will fall forward and die if he retreats. Even swinging the sword should come with great pain. He blocks it in annoyance. His dying enemy gets on his nerves, but he himself gets on his nerves because even though he knows it will end once he retreats, he is not able to do so. Again, even archers say, you know, if I just backed off here, he'd probably collapse and die. But that would mean giving ground, and Archer can't afford to do that, giving Shiro even a small mental victory. But how can he retreat? Straightforward attacks without strategy. It is a shame to turn his back to such attacks. It is also a disgrace to not to block them. His enemy will self-destruct once he retreats. See? He knows it. But he has a presentiment that he will lose something important if he does so. The worries will end soon. His enemy is at his limits. He will fall after 2 more blows, or 3 at most. Clucks his tongue at the stupid thought. He previously thought his enemy would last 2 more blows, but he has received over 10 blows since then. The boy will not fall. He cannot hear the boy's voice. The dying boy frantically opposes the obstacle in front of him. That figure. He stares at the figure with his own eyes for the first time. I keep swinging the sword with arms that are about to tear off. The only thing I have left is this one thing I'm saying with all my might.
じゃない。
My barrage of strikes are compensation for that scream. There were people that could not save others, and there was me who could not save them. I swore to myself never to let such a thing happen again, seeing the memories that meaninglessly disappeared.
なんかさない。
How long has it been since then? There were things I lost, and there were things I dropped. There are always things that will be forgotten. So I swore to myself never to forget this one fact. To become a superhero. I will protect it even if it isn't my wish, or even if it's just sophistry to soften my guilt. It has to come true. The person who saved me died, leaving those words behind. I believe in the wish contained in those words. Even if everyone in this world disagrees with me, and even if I myself curse me, And so, he realizes the attacks will not end. His enemy will not stop. He will not stop from his own will. The boy is attacking with all his might, but he is not looking at his opponent. The thing the boy is trying to defeat is his obstacle, his own self that is hindering himself. He is swinging his sword to enforce what he has believed in, what he will keep on believing in. Realizing that, the man grits his teeth in annoyance. The boy keeps challenging it, knowing he won't win and that there's no meaning to it. That is the exact mistake he detested. So why? Why does he want to see how long the boy can continue?
そこまでだ。消えろ。
He raises his longsword. His enemy's attacks are something he has to take seriously. He repels the attacks and crushes his enemy's skull for sure. A clanging sound. The fatal attack is easily deflected. The one who could not block his attacks until now repels a swing made with all his might. He gasps. He sees his enemy repel his sword and get back into stance. The boy's eyes are looking straight at. The impact causes one of my arms and legs to break. My sense of pain hasn't been numbed. I use my fury to clamp down the pain that almost makes me pass out. The left side of the enemy's chest is open since half my body is broken. This will be my final blow. But such thoughts do not fill my head. The only thing in my head is... He pulls back his longsword to protect his open side. He will make it. He'll easily make it. This is my final blow.
間違い。なんかじゃない。
That's the only thing in my head. It isn't a mistake. Even if Emiyashiro is a fake, this is absolutely true. For everyone to be happy, that is an ideal everyone thinks of. So I won't back down, because this dream is the unwavering gaze. Faults and lies, shaking off everything, running without stopping.
決して間違いなんかじゃないんだから。
Those words are driven into his chest. An attack made at full strength, defense that should have been fast enough. The cogwheels never got into gear, and the battle is decided quickly. He hears the sound of the blade piercing him. The one surprised is the knight in red. His enemy attacked with determination to defeat him. Then it is natural for his attack to do so. The boy does not need to be surprised, nor does he have anything to spare to be surprised. That is why the knight is the only one that is surprised. It is a great wonder how he could not block an attack he could have easily blocked. I support myself with my unbroken right leg. The sword in my hand has pierced Archer's chest.
アーチャー。なぜ？
Was she watching all this time from that place? Still standing at the entrance, Saber questions Archer. Why? Archer does not answer. He might not need to answer, or maybe he doesn't know the answer. My fingers throb. My broken fingers scream at me that they do not want to hold the sword anymore. The knight in red does not move. Even with a blade in his chest, a servant should be able to easily counterattack. But his hands are lowered and show no sign of moving. I know without being told what that means.
俺の勝ちだアーチャー
I make the declaration while looking at him. The knight in red closes his eyes once, and
そして私の敗北だ
I lost. He murmurs while looking off into the distance, as if to convince himself. I pull out the sword. The projected weapon disperses as soon as it touches outside air. The tension floods out of me, and I finally take notice of my condition. It's terrible. The slashed wounds are healing, but lots of places are turning dark red. Archer said something about Saber's sheath, but what's that power putting priority on? It heals the torn flesh at once, but it seems to be putting off the broken bones until later. Then, I hear loud footsteps from the west side, the hallway that Lancer disappeared into. Someone's coming. She appears in the terrace and jumps down without hesitation. So that's like a full story. Alright. Yeah, and she moans in pain at her landing.
シロ、無事って、あーちゃん、あんたその傷どうしちゃったのよ
She follows her sudden arrival with a torrent of questions. It seems Lancer saved Tosca as he promised. But Tosca's energy takes the power out of me. Does she want to check on my safety, or is she angry about Archer's wound?
まったくつくづく甘い彼女がもう少し非道な人間なら私もかつての自分になど戻らなかったもの
He talks sarcastically, but his voice only contains warmth. After looking at Tosca once, the knight in red steps back as if to exit the stage.
ともあれ決着はついたお前を認めてしまった以上エミヤなどという英雄はここにはいられん敗者は早々に立ち去るとしよう
Without saying goodbye to Tosca, huh? His wound is deep and he has no master. He will disappear here and he will return to the original place as a heroic spirit. Huh? It happens in an instant. It is a fatal attack that takes the opening in me as I have relaxed after seeing Tosca. Several swords are called forth. The rain of swords comes down to pierce Emiyashiro's body and... I fall. I'm pushed back and I fall on my butt. Oh, fall on my ass would be better, man. I'm pushed back about a meter. In front of me, my broken limbs cannot support my body, and I do not have the power to get back up. And so, I can only look up at myself that got skewered in front of me. Saber's scream cuts open the silence. She's looking at the second floor, on top of the crumbled
楽
stairs.
しませてもらったぞ偽物同士実にくだらない戦いだった
貴様、アーチャー
10年ぶりだなセイバーお前とはもう少し早く顔合わせをする気であったが予定が変わった予想外の事故ばかり起きてな俺の思惑とはずれてきてしまった
Servant Gilgamesh, the one to defeat Berserker and the one who killed Iliasville. He turns aside Saber's glare and looks down at me and the skewered archer.
さて理解したかそれが本物の重みというものだいかに形を似せ力を似せようが所詮は作り物本物の輝きには及ばない
He raises his hand. It's as if he's ordering his soldiers.
偽物が作り上げた贋作など見るのも汚らわしい クズめ、貴様らのうちには何一つ新作が存在せぬ。他人の真似事だけで出来上がった偽物は即ゴミになるがいい。
He shoots numerous noble phantasms. The unavoidable rain pours down. There are about 30 of them. I couldn't dodge or block them even if I was in perfect condition. Clouds of dust spring up. The shower of swords tears apart the already ruined hall. But even in the midst of the chaos, I see it. The red cloak flies. Still skewered, he runs to me and pushes me once again. I'm pushed away from the red figure. His eyes are telling me, you defeat him. And as long as I defeated Archer, and as long as I want to be a superhero, I must defeat him. The clouds of dust fill my vision. The red cloak sinks inside the rubble, but I see it before he disappears. His eyes are filled with confidence. That servant is no match for us, Emi Ashiro. Neither Saber nor Tosuka will be the one to defeat him. My own self is telling me that Emi Ashiro is the natural enemy of that servant. My vision clears up. Dust is in the air and the rubble is piled up high. There is nothing else. The knight in red disappeared underneath the rubble.
ほう、驚いたぞアーチャー。あの傷で他人を救う余裕があったとはな。
His sarcastic words contain some scorn. The man smiles in satisfaction as he looks down at the hall filled with Archer's blood. Silence falls. Gilgamesh is the most powerful being here. Anyone that moves will follow Archer's fate. Even Saber is silent, wondering how best to attack the enemy. But
この誰に断って私のアーチャーに手を出してんのよ。
with Archer's death, Tosuka has lost her composure. Light runs across space, pure destructive force, magical energy released from the jewel without any processing. He doesn't even dodge it. He isn't even scratched.
死に損ないを先にするつもりだったのだが、順序が変わったな、女。
He orders the swords behind him to carry out Tosuka's execution. The sword is released at high velocity. Saber runs with surpassing speed and protects her master.
セイバー。リン、下がって。あの男は危険だ。手を出せば殺されます。
ほう、今のマスターはその小娘か。よかろう。ならば今の無礼は不問に付す。お前を失っては楽しみが減るからな。
Well, that's good. Tosuka isn't dying, I guess. Saber glares at the enemy while readying her invisible sword.
なぜここにいるアーチャー。近江は前回の聖杯戦争で呼ばれたサーバント。そのあなたがなぜ今回も限界している。
なぜも何もあるまい。前回の戦いが終わった後、我は消えずにこの世に留まっただけだが。
He's never left.
そんなバカな。サーバントは聖杯が消えた時点でこの世との接点をなくすはずだ。ならばあなたが10年もの間とどまっていられるはずがない。
Swear to God, what the hell was Gilgamesh doing for like the last 9.5 years? It seems like he's done basically nothing other than exist.
そうでもないぞ。もとよりこの世との接点は聖杯ではなくよりしろとなったマスターだ。聖杯はあくまで道を通したに過ぎん。聖杯が消えた後も魔術師が魔力を提供し続ければこの世にはとどまれる。
Good to know that. As long as you have mana, you can maintain them unless they get
も
desummoned.
っとも聖杯の助力なしでサーバントを維持できるマスターなどそうはいないがな。その点で言えば俺のよりしろは魔力不足ではあった。
ならばどちらにせよあなたがとどまれるはずがない。サーバントを持つことにマスターが耐えられないなら あなたは召喚者ともども枯渇しているはずだ。
それもやりようであろう。魔術回路が少なければ知識で補うのが魔術師という輩だ。
Knowledge instead of
そ
magic.
の点で言えば
What do you get?
俺のマスターはなかなかに筋金の入った男だった。
Was exceptional. Was. Then his master is gone now? No, his master is Shinji. The fact that he, the man who would not obey anyone, obeyed Shinji is proof of that.
ではあなたのマスターはライダーのマスターと同じように
Same as Rider's master?
事故で補えなければ他人から奪うのは当然だろう。だが実を言えばそのような手間もいらなかったのだがな。俺は聖杯を浴びた唯一のサーバントだ。この時代における受肉など10年前に済ませている。
He's already incarnated. He didn't even need the mana. Saber stares at the man in astonishment. Saber hangs her head at the word 10 years ago.
そう、お前のおかげだぞ、セイバー。あれが何であるか、我は誰よりも熟知している。何しろその新欲をぶちまけられ、中にあるものを見たのだからな。
ではあの時あなたは。
ああ、聖杯の正体を理解した。
The true identity? The true identity?
その時に決めた。あれは俺だけが扱うとな。
Saber. No, looking down at all of us, he declares something that is unbefitting for a servant.
聖杯をあなたが使うだと。
そう、マスターなどという寄生動物に分け与えてやる義理もあるまい。俺は俺の目的のために聖杯を使おう。その最大の障害であった召喚者、先ほど消えた。残ったものはより代にもならぬ魔術師もどきだけだ。
Alright.
俺の望みにはそのなり損ないこそがふさわしい。
The Summerman was eliminated, so all that's left are pathetic matcha unsuited to being the vessel.
もっと
They're
も
suitable for your wish, though.
お前の肉ならば、あるいは完全な聖杯が出来上がるやもしれんが、さて。
The man looks at Tosuka. Apparently she would make a perfect Holy Grail, yes? Tosuka must feel the danger as she grows pale and steps back. His red eyes are ominous. One would feel uncomfortable under the weight of that gaze. His eyes are so aberrant that even Tosuka is frightened of them.
バカな。聖杯はマスターが得るものだ。我らサーバントでは得られないからこそマスターに協力するのだろう。
それこそがおかしな話だ。聖杯に触れられるのはサーバントだけでありながら、聖杯を得られるのはマスターだけだというのか。
That is strange. How does that work? Please explain.
しかしそれは。
すべてはくだらぬざれ言だ。
Of course, it's ridiculous nonsense. That makes the most sense. How else would it mechanically work? It doesn't really compute if you think about it.
7人のマスターによる聖杯の奪い合い。最後の一人となったマスターのみが聖杯を得る儀式だと。そんなものはただの隠れ蓑に過ぎん。
It's all lies, even lies told to the servant summoned from beyond death.
もとより聖杯の恒例など済んでいる。連中は毎回聖杯を用意してから7人のサーバントを呼ぶ。わかるか騎士よ。連中が必要としたのは聖杯ではなく、その中に入るものだ。マスターなど元は我らを呼ぶためだけの回路に過ぎん。魔術師どもはな、聖杯を作りはしたが、その中身を用意できなかった。先ほども言っただろ。事故で補えないのなら、よそから奪ってくるのが奴らだと。聖杯を満たす最高純度の魔力、守護者とも言える 霊長最強の魂こそが奴らが求めたものだ。7人のサーバントとはな、もともと聖杯にくべられる生贄のことらしいぞ。
Servants are simply sacrifices to fuel the Grail? That's crazy. Alright. Saber looks at the man in astonishment. Her eyes are desperately trying to deny his words. Honestly, Gilgamesh has no reason to fucking lie here. That isn't possible. That isn't possible. She's trying to deny it, saying what she wished for. The Holy Grail cannot be such a thing.
驚くことはあるまい。聖杯は魂という本人でなければ制御できぬ力を純粋な魔力に返すろ過器だ。ああ、確かにそれならば願いは叶おう。魔術師どもにとっては永遠に使い切れぬ魔力量だろうからな。
Well, at least it can grant any wish,
ゆえに
for the most part.
生贄は多ければ多いほど良い。6人ものサーバントをくべればそれは万能と言えるだろう。聖杯が汲み取ったサーバントは5人。奴らが目指した万能の釜まではあと1人分で十分だ。
それではやはり聖杯はマスターにしか扱えない。聖杯が純粋な魔力の貯蔵庫だというのなら扱えるのは魔術師だけだ。
See, that's why you can use it. If it's a repository of pure magic energy, only a Magi can use it, and she's not a wizard. Makes sense.
そうだ。
Master's name.
持ち主となるマスターさえ優れた術者ならきっと。
あらゆる願いを叶えられるか？たわけ。人間風情にそのような奇跡は与えられん。どれほど強大な力を持とうと
Wait,
自
where
滅
did...
するのが人間というものだ。
Didn't Archer just come to that conclusion as well? Humans cause their own fucking downfall again? No matter how much power they're given?
だが安心しろセイバー。この聖杯は本物だ。きちんと7人分の英霊を組み込めば必ず原初に到達する。
原初？ちょっと待った。じゃあ聖杯ってまさか。
何者かは知らんが、最初にこのルールを敷いた者は間違いなく神域の天才だろうよ。まあしかし俺には関係のない話ではある。俺はそんなものに興味はない。あるのは聖杯の門としての能力だけだ。
He doesn't even care about the wish granting capable. He's like, what? It can convert souls into
聖
magic?
杯が門だと。
10年前だセイバー。あと一歩で聖杯を手に入れるという時、俺、聖杯は聖剣によって両断され、こぼれ落ちたものは炎となって町を焼き払った。聖杯の真下にいた俺は当然その本流を一身に浴びたのだ。
I would just like to point out a random information notice just popped up from the game. I'm not really sure what's going on. You can't see it, but it's apparently related to it. I'm just gonna click OK. Alright. As I was right underneath the Holy Grail, I was showered with it. Okay.
その時に聖杯の
Might
正
have
体
missed
を
the
知っ
audio
た。
line. I understand.
実にくだらぬ。くだらぬが使い道はある。
Isn't something that has uses inherently not worthless? That kind of conflicts with itself. I mean, useless for most practical purposes, but it has its uses, maybe. But worthless has value if it has a use, right?
数ある兵器の中でもあれほど殺人に特化したものはあるまい。あれはあのままでいい。万能の釜になどする必要はない。
No need for an omnipotent wish granting device. Those are boring. No, it's fine as is.
兵器。聖杯がサーバントを持って生み出すものが兵器だというのか。アーチャ
Seems to be what he's saying.
もともと我らとて兵器だろう。あれはそれを突き詰めたものに過ぎん。聖杯とは地獄の門。一度開けば中からは56億もの呪いが溢れ出す。琴峰は言っていなかったか。聖杯の名はアンリ・マユ。
The Grail itself is all the evils in the world. That's not good. That is the definition of bad.
その名の通り、すべての人間を食いつぶす終わりの泥だと。
Angermanu? I think that's the name of the devil in Zoroastrianism. Who the hell knows that? Oh, it's like, Angermanu. Yeah, that's the name of the devil in a language I literally could not pronounce without reading the full text multiple times. Zoroastrianism. Alright. Like, alright then. Yeah, sure. Just know that off the top of your head, of course. The leader of evil that opposes God for many thousands of years. It is an embodiment of the evil in all human, and is depicted as a reflected image of all humanity's goodwill. But why is the Holy Grail named after the ancient Persian devil?
ではあなたの目的は？
そう一層だ。俺は琴峰のように人間をめでようと努める気はない。めでるべきは美しいものだけだ。
Hear that? People aren't beautiful.
この世界は楽しいがな。同様にどしがたい。凡白の雑種が生を謳歌するなど、王に対する冒涜だ。それでは治める気にもなれん。
バカじゃないのあんた。何が王に対する冒涜よ。人間が一人もいなくなったらそれこそ王様の意味なんてないじゃない。
死に絶えるのならばそれでよい。自らの罪で消え去るのなら生きる価値などはあるまい。
Fair enough. If it's converting your wishes, if it's converting, it's creating curses. Because he said 5.6 billion, so that means the curses are generated by people. So the curses that pour out and kill people are their own curses. So that's fair. You're killed by your own crimes. Yeah, maybe.
俺が欲しいものは雑種ではない。地獄の中ですら生き延びられる者にこそ支配される価値がある。その点で言えば前回のは落第だったな。あの程度の火で死に絶えるなど今の人間は弱すぎる。
He grins. For the first time, he looks at me, who he said is a
この
failure.
世すべての悪とやらが何者であるかは知らん。だが都合が良いだろ。すべての人間に等しく落ちる死の咎。人より生まれた人だけを殺す底なしの闇。本来俺がすべき仕事を任せるにはふさわしい猟犬だ。
Gilgamesh raises his hand. Behind him are noble phantasms waiting for the king's
で
order.
は10年前の続きといこう。あの時はくだらぬゴミが混ざったが、こたびはあのようなゴミはおらん。もっともそれ以上にたちが悪いクズが混ざっているようだが。
The swords are all pointed at me. I will my broken legs to stand, but they do not move. Damn. I can't even manage to block one of those. You'll find this. If it mattered, you'd find the strength. Your body seems to be doing fine against Archer, so I wouldn't really believe that he couldn't block it. He just says he can't because he's not sure he can. So why did Archer leave behind that message? The swords disappear. The golden servant suddenly lowers his arm. After looking up at the ceiling in discomfort, he brushes away the dust on his shoulder.
すすで汚れる。命拾いしたな、小僧。
Imagine getting dust on your shoulder and being like, I can't kill someone. I'm covered in dust. Plot armor. Anyway, the castle is burning. I don't know who set the fire, but it must be huge. The third floor is burning down and the second floor has caught as well. That's not the surprising thing. He really stopped the battle just because he was going to get dirty from the ashes. Like, even Shiro's like, wait, what? What? That just happened? I just got my life saved because there was going to be dirt on his not even that good looking outfit?
逃げるのですか、アーチャー。
場所を変えるだけだ、セイバー。聖杯は俺の手にある。 ことは迅速に済ますのが俺の方針だからな。早々に聖杯を作り、地獄の穴を開けてやろう。
His golden hair flutters. Gilgamesh walks to the terrace that isn't yet burning.
取り戻したければ早めにしろ。何しろ今回の聖杯は急増の欠陥品だ。急がなければ中身がすべてこぼれてしまうぞ。
Well, at least we know we'll have an idea of where to find him when we sense the ridiculous amount of magical energy, right? His stifled laughter echoes through the room, and he leaves the burning castle like that. Sparks are dancing through the room, and the ceiling is tinted red. Yeah, probably a good time to flee the place. The gorgeous castle shows no traces of what it used to be. The castle without a master crumbles without trace, as if to follow the girl in white, who, as I recall, is buried under rocks in this very hall. Matou Shinji is running through the forest with beast-like breath. He's actually running along a selected route, but his mentality is that of a wanderer. He is running away without aim, so the word wandering is more befitting.
くそあと少しっていうところでどいつもこいつも潰しやがって。
He pushes the branches aside with one hand and runs while scattering wet dirt. Leaving a trail of blood behind him, Matou Shinji heads to the edge of the forest. He has not treated the wound he received from Lancer. He does not feel his right arm anymore. The wound is inflamed and his right arm will not move, as if dead. What a fucking moron. Holy shit. He somehow manages to be dumber than Emiya. I can survive all these lethal wounds and just keep fighting, even though I supposedly can't anymore. I mean, he is our protagonist, and there is a reason for that. Those of you who have read the Fate route know that, or have seen Zero, know that Avalon lets you regenerate. So he's kind of, he's on the edge, but he's also regenerating like fucking Wolverine. So, how many bullets has Wolverine taken? At least I think Avalon's not as good. Well, the way Shiro uses it probably isn't as good as Wolverine's healing that makes him literally unkillable, but it's pretty close, as it'll keep patching him up as long as he doesn't suffer anything too brutal. We have died in this route. We have died over the course of the game, so it's not impossible to kill us. Whereas with Wolverine, yeah, you can't really kill Wolverine by just stabbing him or shooting him. It's not a thing that happens. He must not be able to run with only one arm, as he slips and leans against a tree. His dangling right arm is like a piece of trash. As soon as he realizes that a part of his body is a useless piece of trash, Matou Shinji starts laughing. Shiro, fighting with a sword in his arm, while his fingers and arm are completely broken. And he's taken like multiple slashes all over his body from swords. And this guy's like, I might have been poked. I don't actually know how badly the injury is, but he's like, oh no, I've been stabbed. It's useless now. The laughter comes out like a racking cough. Hurts. It must be because of the wound that his body is burning hot. In a daze, he imagines his wounded arm rotting away. After that, he imagines everyone around him rotting away. Not just one of their arms. He has one arm. All the other idiots should lose both of their arms. Can't stop laughing. With that decision made, the pain becomes bearable. He has a legitimate purpose now. The first thing he would do is collect every possible arm. There will be no exceptions.
そりゃいい。じゃあ、一番初めは決まってる。
This is what goes through the mind of Shinji Matou. Man, my arm's injured. I might lose use of it. I shouldn't try to heal it. Everyone else should lose both of their arms. What? The girl that did not become his. Oh, since she is his favorite, he cannot allow her to be superior to him. So that's whose arms he's getting first?
待っててよ、遠坂。すぐに僕以下にしてやるからさ。
Laughing, Matou Shinji raises his head. What? When did he appear? His servant is standing right in front of him.
お前。
He looks at his servant in surprise. The golden servant looks down at Matou Shinji as if looking at livestock.
傷を負ったのか。ひどいな。それではさぞかし痛かろう。
And he says something he doesn't mean. You're wounded. That must hurt. I don't think Gilgamesh cares. Matou Shinji's face contorts. Without realizing the true intention of his servant, he glares at the man before him.
痛かろうだと。誰のせいだと思っているんだ。お前が間抜けだからランサーなんかにやられたんだぞ。番犬役もできないくせに偉そうなことを言うな。
With his head on fire, Matou Shinji insults his servant. The golden servant nods, saying, "This will do."
その傷はランサーにつけられたのか。では、あのマスターを逃がしたのは奴だったのだな。
ああ、そうだよ。お前がグズだから遠坂を逃がしちまったんだ。あんな死に損ないに取られるなんて思い出しただけで吐き気がする。
そうか。それは残念だ。
Yeah, it's just too damn bad. I don't think Gilgamesh seems too caring here.
何を落ち着き払ってんだよ。遠坂がいなけりゃ聖杯が手に入らないんだろ。さあ、お前のせいで全部台無しだ。分かってんのかよ。これからどうすれば。
安心しろ。予定に狂いはない。聖杯は作り出せ。
The servant's voice contains no emotion. The Holy Grail can still be created. Matou Shinji does not realize the red eyes aren't looking at him.
どうやって？いくら聖杯があってもその器がないとできないって琴峰も言ってたじゃないか。あのガキの心臓だけじゃ意味がない。あれは優れた魔術回路につなげないと聖杯にならないんだろ。
Matou Shinji walks up to his servant and scolds him for his stupidity. The golden servant nods and...
だから問題ない。
Oh, there's no
より
problem.
代になるマスターなら、ここにもう一人いるじゃないか。
He thrusts his arm. A piercing sound. Matou Shinji never finds out what the sound is. But he feels something funny is in his stomach. Looking down, he sees his servant's arm there. The fist is inside his body. There's neither pain nor blood. The servant's arm is in his body like the absurd spiritual operation he saw before.
聖杯が欲しいのだろう。ならばくれてやろう。大事なものなら、二度と手放すな。
ああああ。
His blood vessels expand. After feeling the sensation of billions of worms squirming through his body and trying to get out. That's a weird sensation. Alright. He becomes something that is not Matou Shinji. It convulses. The swollen object is literally a lump of meat. There is no shape to it. It is composed of exposed meat and blood vessels quickly forming meat and quickly decaying meat. I don't mind hearing Shinji suffer. Unable to bear the pain of the repeating growth and decay and the sensation of something wriggling inside of him, he loses his sanity. After watching it, the servant lets him go as if nothing has happened.
憎いな。 力ある魔術師ならば変貌することもないだろうが、まあ仕方があるまい。
This is a powerful Magus would not change form, but he would. Because Shinji is a shitty Magus. Chain comes down. Descending from the sky, Heaven's chain bind the writhing mass of flesh. The balance of expansion and decay is about the same right now, but the Holy Grail should figure out its master soon enough. Expansion should overwhelm the decay by then. His Holy Grail should be completed in no time.
ゲテモノの方が味は良い。何よりお前ならばふさわしい泥を吐き出すだろう、シンジ。
The servant laughs. And beside him, the piece of meat repeats, "Help me," in a voice that is no longer human. Interlude out. That was quite the scene. And a heck of a long one at that. Damn, that was like 2 hours.
傷はもう痛まないのですか？
What are we gonna do now? We gotta deal with Gilgamesh. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think saving Shinji should be on high on our priority list, but probably need to destroy that grail. I'm just saying. It's probably something we need to deal with, at the very least, because he's planning on killing a whole pile of people with this Shinji grail. Well, how will we stop them? Well, I think we'll find out in the next episode. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next chapter. Bye.